Okay. Yes, good evening all. This is Omar Atik. I'm head of programs of Shafak Organization. Shafak Organization, a non-profit organization registered in Turkey since 2013. I have PhD in agriculture engineering from Aleppo University. I was researcher in the General Commission for Scientific Research in Syria, and also I'm former strategic advisory member and the co-coordinator for agriculture working group in FSL cluster in Turkey. My research or my presentation title
Omar, can I interrupt you to try to use the full screen? That'll just give us a better skill.
Now, do you see my screen?
We see it, but we see a lot of other things as well.
Unfortunately, because I see my full screen, I'll stop sharing and reshare. Okay. Now
that's okay. That's okay. Let's just.
Okay. Okay. The title of my presentation is the impact of humanitarian assistance on the food security of people affected by conflict, drought, and earthquake in northwest Syria. When we are talking about northwest Syria, we are talking about two provinces. One of it is part of Aleppo in the north, near the border of the south border of Turkey, and also about Idlib. This area consists of 9 districts and 35 sub-districts. As on an overview of the situation in northwest Syria, since the start of the conflict of the civil war in 2011, the number of civilian experienced food insecurity in the country has grown substantially. Syria is almost the 6th country with the lowest level of food security worldwide. Almost 12 million people are estimated to be food insecure in Syria, including 2 million of them are in camps and informal settlement. As you know, in camps, most of them, or 100% of them, are food insecure. 2.9 million people are estimated to be at risk to be food insecure. The WFP, or the World Food Program, reported that between 20 and 22, food prices in the country increased by 500% almost. More than 90% of the Syrian population in northwest Syria are under the poverty line. 7 in 10 Syrian families is food insecure, with the highest concentration in Idlib. We can see that in Idlib, the food insecurity percentage is almost 74, and in Aleppo, almost 61. Idlib governorate continue to be impacted by the unstable security situation and the widespread economic crisis. The level of acute malnutrition among children and women is steadily rising in the country since 2019. Stunting nutrient deficiencies and uptake of infant and young child feeding care practices remain concerning. While it is early to see that the significant increase in acute malnutrition following the earthquake, the nutrition cluster in northwest Syria is anticipating an increased caseload of just over 1,000 cases. We will talk about some factors that have increased food insecurity in northwest Syria according to the time schedule. Since we will start with the conflict after 2011, the conflict has resulted in the destruction of significant number of Syrian bakeries, which has contributed to shortage of bread, which is the staple of the Syrian diet. Attempts to respond to Syrian food insecurity with humanitarian food aid have been severely hindered by access restrictions and violent attacks on food distribution efforts. Shelling, artillery, and missiles fire itself destroy crops and also prevent farmers from accessing their land. Also, the crop destruction by fire between 17 and 22, there were at least 198 incidents where crops or farmer was set on fire. The second factor which increases food insecurity is the climate change in general and the recent drought, especially after the 2016 in northwest Syria, where Syria suffered a significant drought between 2006 and 2010, while in 20 and 21, upgraded levels of drought and rainfall scarcity was reported. As a result, the percentage of irrigated land in the country has almost halved. The damage and destruction of water infrastructure and facility constitute a major humanitarian and health issue in Syria and have contributed to a shortage of water to irrigate Syrian crops and farmland lands. The water crisis and drought-like condition affected Syria are coupled with existing damage and neglected of farmlands and irrigation system as a result of the decade of crisis. Around 40% of the irrigated agricultural lands are no longer able to rely on the availability of water. Insufficient and poverty distributed rainfall in the 20 and 21 agriculture season, together with several heat waves, the high cost of agriculture in both limited availability of irrigation water and the high cost of fuel for pumping resulted in contractions of the harvestable cereal area. You know that cereal is especially wheat barley. The fourth is the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Russia-Ukrainian conflict started on 24th of February in 2022, and it's having an impact of the global market in northwest Syria, and especially and also in the northwest Syria, and a lot of items affected in northwest Syria due to this crisis. This crisis further hampers global supply chain unavailability and also caused unavailability of some items in the market, further erosion of people purchasing power and loss of employment. The fourth factor is the earthquake which happened in Turkey and Syria in 6th of February 2023. Powerful earthquake hit the border region between Turkey and Syria. The quake caused further displacement of people, adding the already massive number of internally displaced persons in the region. The earthquake impacted almost 3.7 million children and pregnant lactating women, and many exacerbate the nutrition situation of vulnerable children and women. Also, this earthquake caused damage to infrastructure and equipment was high, especially for the agriculture and the livestock. The winter crops affected, orchard and agricultural land were affected by the earthquake also. Many animals were killed. Access to agriculture import has further deteriorated. Access to water is another constraint aggravated by the earthquake, and the earthquake caused major financial losses. Also, access to food has deteriorated since the earthquake. We'll talk about some intervention. The INGOs, UN agencies, NGOs, and donors are providing as activity in northwest Syria in order to alleviate the food insecurity and to promote the food security in northwest Syria. And also the FSL cluster in the Turkey hub has a lot of recommendation and priority in this regard. On the top of the humanitarian assistance, which is the food assistance. Food assistance means that distribution cash and voucher. Cash for food, it is multi-round. Mostly it is 8 rounds of cash for food for most vulnerable food insecure beneficiary. Also voucher for food, value voucher, and also multi-purpose cash. Also, we have in-kind distribution like food basket, ready to eat, bread distribution, and also bakery support for rehabilitation and cooked meal. Also, another hybrid modality, in-kind and cash, or hybrid with voucher. The second intervention is the agriculture. We are talking about value chain, the most important value chains in northwest Syria, which is winter crops, mainly wheat and barley, also the olive, pistachio, legumes, and vegetables. These value chain are supported through different stages, starting with the production, and input where the NGOs are providing the farmers with agriculture inputs, including seeds, fertilizer, pesticide, cash for fuel, cash for harvest, and another like climate smart agriculture system session or capacity building or facility for laboratories and soil analysis, for example. And also the second phase is the processing, where we have some NGOs are supporting seed processing, sorting, treatment, and packaging. Marketing, we are talking about purchasing the wheat production from farmer or barley to be used even for as a seeds for the next season, or to be milled as a flour and subsidized bakeries, and also in somehow under the value chain of olives can be purchased and then can be milled and distributed for the most vulnerable people. Also, another
Sorry,
intervention.
Omar, but we're going to have to wrap up pretty quickly. So sorry about that. But
Yeah,
please
yeah,
go ahead.
I will finalize. Livestock value chain also, like vaccination, fodder, extension, capacity building, and treatment. Another intervention is the rehabilitation of the infrastructure related to the value chain or the irrigation, like canals, wells, using the solar system as alternative energy, and also use green water treatment to be used for irrigation, and also modern irrigation system like drip irrigation. The last intervention, which is income generating activity, including cash for work, small business grant, and food processing. Also, in Northwest Syria, a lot of nutrition activity, especially for provide supplementary feeding program for malnutritious children, pregnant, and women, and breastfeeding mothers. Case study of Shafak Food Security Program in Northwest Syria. The objective is the food assistance, self-reliance, protecting the productive asset, generating opportunity for income, and also sustain microeconomy and market. For Shafak organization are doing multi intervention as a humanitarian assistant to alleviate the food insecurity in Northwest Syria, including distribution of food basket, ready to eat, flour, bread, cooked meals, food vouchers, cash for food, and for livelihood, agriculture, value chain, livestock, and income generating activities. Some photos from our activity in Northwest Syria to feed the food security objective and indicators at the outcome and output levels, and also some value chain intervention, and also some micro small enterprises and vocational training related to the food security. Nutrition, a lot of malnutrition survey and intervention in Northwest Syria. Only we have one cases where it's Shafak implementing food security program to support individual, where we have in our case almost 9,000 households were supported with food assistance 2022. And key finding of the endline evaluation, we can see in the first indicator that the use of negative coping strategy by conflict affected household, the baseline value was 11, but it is improved to 1.8 at the end line, which is a significant improvement in the indicator to show that the percentage of household with poor food consumption score decreased from 34 to 3% at the end line. For the indicator 3, we see that the percentage of household with borderline food consumption score decreased from 47 to 30 at the end line. And the indicator 4 showed that the percentage of household with adequate food consumption score increased from 19 to 67 at the end line. And also the fifth indicator showed that the percentage with little or no hunger in the household increased from 95% to 100%. And also this key finding showed that the moderate hunger in the household decreased from 4 to 0. And the last indicator showed that the percentage of household with severe hunger in the household remained at 0 throughout the program. Thank you. Over to you.